Hi, everyone. Welcome to Novel Hour or Thursday lunchtime show where we gather at 12 noon Eastern Time every day. Okay, so 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. New York time. We gather here for our live show and we share book recommendations based on different topics. And this week, we are going to be talking all about friendship stories. Now, if you're looking for love stories and romances, we did that last week. So find the replay for that one. But today it's all about the friendships. We have bromance, we have women's fiction, we have thrillery friendships as well. So there are lots of variety and options for you to choose from. So we'll each individually share our books, 3 recommendations each. But we'd love to hear from you as well. So let us know in the comments, or if you're watching live, or if you're watching the replay, what are some of your favorite friendship books? So we're not going to waste any time today. We're going to hop straight into the recommendations. I'm going to hop Francesca off and Laura, and I'm going to start with my books first. So my books are women's fiction, most of them anyway. The last book has one friend who is a male, but it's mostly women, and all the books are really categorized as women's fiction. Okay, so these 3 books are all about friendship. Again, they're women's fiction, and they'll have you really thinking about the friends you have in your life currently or friends you've had in your life at one point or another. So the first book I want to share with you is Sylvia's Second Act by Hilary Yablon. Now, I really enjoyed this one because this is kind of like I'm in retirement, but I'm out of retirement. So we meet a woman. Her name is Sylvia. She is in a retirement community in Florida with her husband. However, one day she walks in on the man, right, with another woman. So essentially, he was having an affair. And then shortly after that, she also discovers that not only was he having an affair, but he lost all their money through bad investments. Now, some women would freak out. I know I would be one of them. But instead, she sees this as an opportunity to leave him. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so relieved. Let's leave this man. Now she's going to do what she's wanted to do for a long time. But like most folks, when you find out something like this has happened, what do? You call up your friend. So she calls up her friend, they have some drinks, and then she ends up in an Uber the next day to the airport to go to her daughter's house. Her plan is to help her daughter with the children. But her daughter, on the other hand, feels like there is no way my mom is going to make it on her own. So she's trying to get her parents back together. But the mom or main character decides that, you know what? No, I'm going to do what I want to do. She goes back to Manhattan. She restarts her business that she had there. And she just really wants to kind of enjoy her life. This is where it kind of gets into the Sex and the City kind of vibe. Okay. This woman wants to live her best life finally. Now, her friend in Florida, the one who she was drinking with, comes up to join her as well. So now it's like they're roomies and they're living this city life together. The friend also has a story. I don't want to get into it too much to kind of spoil it, but just know the friend also has a story. And this one is just lots of fun. So we have a messy affair turned into a golden opportunity to leave the husband. We have a daughter trying to get them back together, but we have the best friend who's kind of like, I'm here and we're going to live our best life in New York, in Manhattan. So it's really fun. It's lots of laughs and I love seeing it in the city. So I'm going to say Sex and the City light. The next book on my list is one of a different turn. So this one is Women of Good Fortune by Sophie Wan. Now, this is about 3 friends in China and they all have different situations going on. We have one of our characters who is engaged to a man she doesn't want to marry. We have another friend who's saving up her money to get some plastic surgery because she's just not really happy with her appearance. She really hates the way she looks. And then we have another friend who wants to freeze her eggs so she doesn't miss out on motherhood, right? So they come up with this plan. It's like a heist. Remember, one of them is supposed to be getting married. Their plan is to steal the wedding money because, you know, in some traditions, it's like you give the wedding, the bride, the groom wedding money. So they decide we're going to steal this money in order to get what we want. Now, it sounds a bit comedic, and it is to some degree, but it also really deals with some serious issues. So, of course, it's the expectation to marry and, like be a dutiful wife. What happens when a woman is a super career woman, but she also wants other things as well? But the thing about the heist is that it allows them to kind of step outside of their comfort zones, and we see just how up to no good they can get together. We also see how their relationships as friends thrive, but also how it struggles. And of course, there's some family story behind that. We also hear from the men a little, but again, it's more about the women. And the main driver, which is the heist to steal the money, we see over time it becomes less about the money, but also how they develop as individuals. So this is a debut novel. It was really fun. And again, it's just all about celebrating friendships. And then the last book I'm going to share with you has some armchair travel in there as well. The book starts off on a bit of a heavy note, but it kind of gets lighter. So just work with me here. So we have four freshmen in college, right? They're all friends. They have different aspirations. One wants to be an actor. One wants to get into law. One, I think, was an athlete or something. And then another one, wants to be a mom. And there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, they all decide, I think three of them decided that they wanted to pledge for a sorority. One person does not. That's a whole separate storyline. But the meat of the matter occurs when, right before their graduation, the most unthinkable happens. One of the friends, because remember, we're starting with a group of four, unfortunately unalives themselves. And this leads to the friends spiraling. Like, they can't understand, how did this happen? How did no one see it? That kind of vibe. So when this happens to the one friend, they decide, hey, we are the trio. We are the surviving friends in the friend group, and we're going to make sure to always not wait until things get to a certain point to reach out to each other. So they decide that this is what they're going to do. So then now, fast forward, they're in their 30s, and one of the friends walks in on their husband having an affair. And she just calls up her friend. One friend leaves, who wanted to be an actor, leaves Hollywood and comes in to help her friend. The other friend also leaves what he has going on and come for the friend, which in turn has something to do with him breaking up with his girlfriend, which is a whole other story. But anyways, they both come together for their friend to kind of help her get through this. And part of it is a getaway to Italy. So they go to this really nice destination, which I love reading about in fiction, armchair traveling, beach club kind of vibes. And we see them while they're, there to support the friend. Other things come up about their life. And we see them kind of coming together to, be there for each other. So we have some armchair traveling. It starts off a bit heavy, but we get resolution in the end. And those are my 3 books about friends. So if you have any friendship book recommendations, I'd love to hear from you as well. But also, if you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear from you too. So share your thoughts in the comments. But I'd love to hear from my friends. What did you think about my 3 books about friendship?
I have so many thoughts about your first one. I want to read it, number one. But my first sticking point is the daughter. She wants them to get back together after the husband did all that. Like, hell no. What kind of daughter does that? You are a terrible daughter.
Terrible. I'm like, no. And also having no faith in your mom. Like, she can make it.
Yeah.
Okay, she can make it on her own. So I was just like, no.
We don't support that. We don't support that.
No, but it's really, really a fun read. If you're just joining us, we're sharing books about friendship. So if you have any friendship books, share them in the comments. About is this one. It's just really, really lots of just really fun. I also shared here we go, Good Women of Good Fortune. And then the last one is Emily Griffin's The Summer Pact. If you've read any of these books, please let us know. But also, if you have any recommendations, we'd love to hear from you as well. Now, I shared books mostly about women, right? And women kind of going through their things. But guess what? Francesca has the bromance. So we are going to get off here so Francesca can share her bromance books.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about what to do for friendships, and I feel like it's expected to talk about female friendships in books, especially. I'd always talk about romance books in general, so that's always easy to find. But I wanted to talk about the bromances because a lot of times they can be so epic and really build something that is as special as the romance itself. So I have three series to pitch to you guys. Two of them are contemporary romance, and one is paranormal. And in fact, the paranormal series, I think, is what I would consider the most epic romance of all time because, in fact, it's like the core of the series. But let's start with contemporary. The first series I'm going to talk about is the Wild Season series by Christina Lauren. So this is a series that actually follows also three female friends. So we have Mia, Harlow, and Lola, and they take a trip to Vegas. They meet three irresistible guys, and they end up kind of married to them. So they have these impulsive, messy relationships. All three books are really entertaining. There's actually four books in the series, but the bromance is in the first three books. So it is among the guys Ansel, Finn, and Oliver. And I think that the bromance in the series is just as engaging as the romances themselves. So it's filled with a lot of teasing and support. They have a very like ride or die loyalty between them. So in these three books, I'm just going to quickly tell you what you can expect from all three. We have Sweet Filthy Boy, which is book one. It's about Mia and Ansel. So Mia is kind of like a quiet, responsible heroine. And there's a wild night in Vegas. She ends up married to Ansel after that night. And he is kind of charming and free spirited. He's a Frenchman. And instead of annulling the marriage, she decides that she's going to take a leap and go for spending a summer in France. So she's going to Paris. So that's kind of like a reckless decision on her part that really turns into exploring passion, self discovery, and kind of like learning how to bloom yourself in the middle of a bunch of chaos as well. Then we have Dirty Rowdy Thing, which is Harlow and Finn. And we have Harlow, which is a brash and bold kind of independent heroine, and Finn is a rugged Canadian fisherman. Kind of grumpy. He's a little bit of a grumpy streak. And after they were married for 12 hours, they do get an annulment, and their paths cross afterwards, and they kind of turn into a friendship with benefits arrangement. He's having to save the family's struggling business. She has her own battles, and of course, the chemistry develops from there. And then we have Dark Wild Night, which is Lola and Oliver. And Lola is a successful comic book creator, and Oliver is kind of the ultimate bookish, tattooed, beanie wearing dream guy. He owns a comic shop, and their Vegas marriage was never consummated, but their friendship has been rock solid. So they kind of have to navigate the pressures of Hollywood and trying to adapt her work and all of that. But throughout all three of these books, Ansel, Finn, and Oliver have this very strong bromance. They joke around, they push each other's buttons, and it really offers kind of like a solid relationship between all three of them. They give each other advice, and it's a friendship that I think really adds a lot of depth to all of these stories, and it shows kind of a support system in these romances that makes them even more satisfying. So that is for the contemporary Wild Season series. Then we have our paranormal romance, which is the Black Dagger Brotherhood. In my opinion, it's kind of like the ultimate bromance story here. So the Black Dagger Brotherhood by J.R. Ward is a long-running paranormal romance saga, and it follows an elite group of vampire warriors that are fighting against their enemies, which is the Lessening Society. Each book focuses on a different romance, different couple. And I think one of the biggest highlights of the series is the brotherhood itself. Now, all of the warriors, for the most part, are male, and they have a very deep ride or die friendship between all of these warriors. They kind of are ruthless killers in the battlefield, but I think that also their bonds have very strong loyalty, a lot of humor, a lot of emotion as well. So while all of them in general, they form this massive bromance, there's also smaller factions within. So the first one that I want to highlight, it's kind of the top ultimate bromance, and it's between Butch and Vicious. So Lover Revealed is Butch's book, which is the one that I have here on the screen. But I think that from the very first moment that these two meet, which is in Dark Lover, we kind of feel this connection between them that really hits hard. So Butch is actually this outsider. He's a human cop. He stumbles into the vampire world without knowing anything about it, but he quickly becomes part of the Brotherhood, especially because of his bond with Vicious. They are like next level intense bromance, ultimate pair. They drink together, they fight together, they have moments of connection that maybe some fans thought would lead to some romantic development, but it's just that ultimate bromance between them that really they connect so well in every level. Also in Lover Reveal, we see that how deep V actually cares for him and how much he's willing to sacrifice for him. And then later on in Butch's book, which is Lover Unbound, we actually see Butch as one of the few people that really understood Vicious's trauma. So I think that their connection goes way deeper than any of the ones that we explore in the series, which is all about raw, unfiltered emotion. It's packed with so much tension, but also with just a lot of fun. Other bonds in the Brotherhood are rage and sadist. So that's kind of a little bit more like little brother, older brother type of dynamic, even though they're not blood brothers, but they are all part of the Brotherhood. And then we have Wrath and Torment, which are Wrath is the king and Torment is the kind of first in command. So they have a more leadership relationship. They've known each other for such a long time, and their relationship is built on leadership and respect and mutual kind of like the purpose of where they're taking the race. But throughout the years, they've really connected on a deeper level. And then there's another standout bromance in the series, which is between John Matthew, Quinn, and Blay. So at the time, they were the next generation. We now have a next generation in the series, but they were the next generation vamps. And they kind of like went through their transition and their training together, and they really developed a nice tight-knit bond between the three of them. John Matthew is actually has his own limitations. I don't want to spoil any of it. And then there are some things that develop later on also between Quinn and Blay. So ultimately, I think these are all very steamy romances, but it's not just about the steam in this series. One of the most important aspects of the series is the bromance itself between all of the members of the Brotherhood, and you see that developing throughout the different relationships. And then the last series that I wanted to talk about is also contemporary romance, and it's the Bromance Book Club series by Lisa K. Adams, which is all about flipping toxic masculinity on its head and proving that romance novels are just not for women. They're also for men. So the series actually follows a group of high-powered men. There's athletes, politicians, businessmen, and they secretly start reading romance novels to better understand their partners and become better men in the process. So their bromance is kind of the heart of the series in this book. It's filled with humor. It has lots of emotional support and a lot of really funny book club meetings. So kind of the highlights is in the Bromance Book Club, we have an athlete, and he's having some rocky issues with his marriage, and they basically assign him to read a historical romance to save his marriage. And all of the members of the book club, they come together and they actually have to give him kind of emotional support. There's also lots of laugh out loud moments and hilarious moments as well. But the heroes really are there to help him become the hero in his own real life story. So I think that that connection there was really important. In the second book, which is Undercover Bromance, we have a kind of the founder of the book club, Brayden, who is the resident cocky charmer of the bunch, and his bromance, or the main friendship, is with the Russian blood, and kind of that's a ride or die friendship between them. I think it's one of the best parts of the whole book, in my opinion. So Vlad is the himbo with a heart of gold, and Mac is constantly trying and failing to keep up with all of this ridiculous antics. So I think that it's really fun, lots of chaos in that one, and lots of fun. And then we have Crazy Stupid Bromance, which is all about found family vibes. The hero Noah is a former hacker. This is a best friends to lovers romance. The heroine is a cat cafe owner, And I think what makes the book extra special is the club rallying around Noah when family drama hits really hard. I think it's all about showing that the bromance is not just about romantic relationships, it's also about supporting, being like the support system for each other, which I think it really proves how much these men really care for each other's outside of their love lives. And then the last one is Isn't It Romantic, which is Vlad's time to shine. So Vlad the Russian, which is the goofball of the bunch, finally gets his love story. And of course, it's a standout with the absolute, again, ride or die between all the bromances and in all the friendships in this one. So lots of fun. They're always making fun of him too, which kind of like running jokes and all of that, but they're fiercely, fiercely loyal. And it really cements that the book club is about more than that. It's really about family between them. So that's the ones I think that it really is important also to see that men are also there to have their friendships and have those deep emotional connections. And it's not just the women's thing.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. I love the Bromance Book Club. That's the only one I've read, but I found it interesting. Christina Lauren, they have that series.
Mhm.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's worth checking out. That's this one, just in case you are joining us. What did you think, Laura?
I really like that Christina Lauren series. It's a spinoff from the Beautiful Bachelor series. It's the Vegas Getting Married in Vegas, and it's actually my favorite series that I love to revisit just because it's just like fun. It's the complete opposite from what Christina Lauren has been writing so far. So it's definitely a high heat. It's just fun. It's just like banter, and there's like it's not just romance between the guys, but also the female friendships
Mhm.
that happen. It's just a solid friend group.
Yeah.
And yes, you get married in Vegas all the time too. And you're like, okay, what am I gonna do? And seeing all the different paths converge and define and go to France. The first book in France is like, yeah, wouldn't it be the dream? I married a French guy and just like spend the summer in France. So
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We are talking about books about friendship. So Francesca just shared the Christina Lawrence, Sweet Filthy Boy, and the series books, that one. And then Lover Revealed, the books in those series, and then the Bromance Book Club and the books in that series as well. So I did women, Francesca did bros, and guess what? Laura's going to do the thrills. So we are going to get out of here so she can share those thrillery books that have friendship at the center.
So I am focusing on toxic friendships, frenemies, mean girls, a little bit in between. So all are related to some trips that they're taking. So the first one we're going to go is Before We Were Innocent. This is a Reese Witherspoon pick from last year. It's basically three friends. They were 18. I think two were scholarship kids, and one of them was a really rich girl. The rich girl invites the friends to go to a trip to Greece, and in the trip she dies, and everyone suspects that these two girls are the murder, like they were involved in the murder. And so 10 years later, one of them they diverged. One of them was in isolation, just in hiding fully, like just private person. And then the other one became the complete opposite. She became like a motivational speaker, like just really well known. And something happens that the motivation speaker finds the person hiding and says, "Hey, I need help." And so we see the toxic relationship. We see try to figure out what's happening. This one doesn't have a tidy up ending, so if you don't like those, maybe this one is not for you. But it's a slow burn. You have to push through the first couple chapters just to get to the story, but it's a pretty engaging story to go to about female friendships, about growing apart, and also being in the spotlight for something you don't want to be in the spotlight for, and the consequences that will happen. So that's Before We Are Innocent by Ella German. The next one, we're going to go to what I call bachelor parties. So the next one is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. This is a hen party, or as they say in Britain, or a bachelor party, as they say in the US. It's set in Greece. It's a beautiful island, secluded island in Greece. Six loosely friends, like some childhood friends, some yoga friends, some girlfriend of a girlfriend. It's basically six girls coming together for a trip to Vegas, to Greece for for one of the one of the bride to be. And there's a murder, and we don't know who gets murdered until the very end. So we're trying to figure out who gets murdered, what's happening, what secrets they have in hiding, how do they get along. and how these toxic, loose acquaintance get together in this like beautiful setting that's just like a shock to the system. So I don't know. I find that bachelor parties are a great place for thrillers. I've seen quite a few. And we have another one, which is let's go. You May Kill the Bride by Kate Weston. So we're going to move to a group of childhood best friends who one of them may have killed a bride. So basically, they're all childhood best friends, and they're essentially mean girls now. They're frenemies. And Tansy is getting engaged, and they all come together for a bachelorette party. And Tansy dies, and they're trying. And now all the friends are suspect because they have secrets in hiding, and they all know each other's secret. So we're trying to figure out who killed who and what the secrets are and how they all come together, how they get out of it. This is a Mean Girls. Some reviews said it's funny. I found it okay, but you can be your own judgment for this one. But it's just like a fun little romp. Like it's Mean Girls in a thriller. So enough You May Kill the Bride.
Amazing. Those are amazing. I'm a
Yeah.
Lucy Clark fan. So I read that one of the girls. I love Lucy Clark. I read like most of her books. I agree. I think bachelorettes, like those getaways,
Hmm.
they are good for thrillery reads. And you see
Yeah.
a lot of frenemies too. I mean, you were friends before, but life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But you
I
kind of
feel like you grow out of it, you have different interests, or you just realize they're not good people, or you're giving emotional labor and they're not giving emotional labor back to you.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
exactly.
perfect recipe to unalive you.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. If you're just joining us live, welcome, welcome to Novel Hour. We gather here every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time, 12 p.m. New York time, depending where you are in the world. And we share some fun book recommendations. We have a little chit chat with you all today. I have to say, you all are quiet today. Share some of your favorite friendship book recommendations with us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you if you're watching live. Replay crew, we'd love to hear from you as well. So share some of your favorite books, romance, women's fiction, thrillers, anything about friendships. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But while we have you here, let's get into next week. So we have our shows lined up, like I just mentioned. Each week we share books based on different themes, and next week we're going to be sharing books about Black joy. So these are all going to center Black characters as the main characters, and just them having a joyful existence. Okay, in the books. I think we have a lot going on in the world right now. So I think we could really do with some joy. So tune in next week for that. Then we're going to be sharing some locked room mysteries. I don't know about y'all, but I love a locked room mystery.
Hmm.
I think now also is the time of year for that. So if you want to add some mysteries to your reading list, you for sure don't want to miss that. And then for the first Thursday in March, we will be sharing some spring reading recommendations. So, spring reading guides, spring reading themed. We're just going to come with a variety as always, so you can stack your reading list for the upcoming season. But don't worry, we're not ushering winter out too soon. But we just want you to keep these shows on your radar. But yeah, I think that's it. There's not much else going. Let's check the chat one last time. Again, you all are quiet, but again, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to share your recommendations with us and join us next week. Oh, we're going live on Monday for a gossip session. So join us Monday at 12 noon, but then join us again Thursday at 12 noon for another novel hour. All right, everyone, take care. Bye.
Bye.